November session of the McNairy County Commission is now in session. Honorable Ronnie Brooks presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're pleased to have Rick Matheny, our UT Extension agent, here tonight. He's going to open us with prayer, followed by Kevin Lickford, who's going to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord, and all the many blessings of life you bestow upon us. Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to serve the people of this county. Lord, we ask that the decisions made by this body be in the best interest of this community and pleasing to you. In these things, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, clerk, let's call the roll, please.
Robert Harris. Here. David McCullough. Here. John Talbot. Steve Browder. Here. Jeff Lippert. Here. Matt Wood.
Present.
Kevin Lippert. Here. Troy Moore.
Here.
Carolyn Woods. Tammy Dillon. Keith Jernigan.
Here.
Jay Weatherford. Here. Brenda Collins.
Here.
Steve Hunter. Stan Wheeler.
Here.
Wilbur Nash.
Here.
Neil Burks. Sandy Whitaker.
Here.
Greg Martin.
Here.
Jim Rickman.
Here.
Anthony Smith.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a quorum. Moving on into the agenda, approval of minutes. Those should have been mailed out to you. Any discussion, questions? Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved, second by Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, thank you. Committee reports. Mr. McCullough just told me that they didn't have anything to report on the road board, so we're going to move on to the building committee. Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The building committee has met at the Mechanical Library, and we had Mr. White meet with us, and we went over a bunch of things that we felt like needed to be addressed. So he's come up with a bid sheet, so to speak. We'll refine it a little bit more, and with in the time frame, I'll just ask anyone that's interested to look at what we're working on. It'll be up here after the meeting. Y'all come look at it. I didn't have time to make any copies and all, but pretty detailed, and you'll see kind of where we're going, and then we'll be probably putting that out for bids pretty soon. HVAC is going to be bid separate, and the roof has already been repaired by Mr. Matlock. It was under the bid required, and all that's been fixed, so it's now just moving into the cosmetic and a few other things that need to be addressed. Any questions after this? The building committee, whatever.
Thank you, Mr. Wheeler. Okay, emergency services. Mr. Browder.
Chairman, the committee's had about 3 meetings in regard to our lack of a hospital situation, emergency room situation. We've had 2 or 3 meetings with West Tennessee Healthcare and different people to get suggestions on which direction we may take to help better serve the county. We've had folks like Dr. Linder and different, I call them experts, to advise us what we do need. At this time, we're still studying this issue, and we really haven't got a recommendation to the county because it's a very critical situation, and we want to see we do all the best we can to cover all our bases. That's pretty much where we stand. I really have nothing to offer about what all we've done in the meetings because we really haven't decided anything yet. Mayor Brooks, you may want to interject anything else you may have about it.
Well, a lot of what we're doing now, it's been ongoing since we first found out the hospital was closing. There's been something in place for meetings trying to find a solution. We're getting closer to where we need to go, but a lot of this deals with personal business issues at this point. So it's something we really can't get involved in. It's between entities that we can't really share at this point. But we will in time. You'll be able to hear more information about that. It's just a matter of moving, trying to keep this thing moving and getting all the right parties in place.
And that being said, it's really why we can't get into a lot of it.
So, but at this time, Craig Kennedy, could you kind of give us a little bit of update on what we discussed about the agreement and the issues with the hospital?
Well, as I told you a month or so ago, I think we had, they had submitted an agreement to us. There's about 13 things that we didn't like about it, sent it back to them. They adopted many of those, or changed the agreement to reflect many of those concerns. But I guess there's probably 3 things that are still there that I think is a problem. One is that there is an acknowledgement that there are some environmental issues with that property. They admit that. They have a phase 1 that they had sent us that was done back in 2002. And I know that's old, but even in 2002, there were some issues that were noted. And the agreement basically says that we're responsible for that. And originally it said that not only we were responsible, we had to indemnify them if there was ever a lawsuit or any claim filed so that they didn't have to pay anything. They've taken that language out about the application, but there's another part of the agreement that basically says that if they get sued for whatever reason, anything to do with this hospital, basically, we have to step in and take that over, and we'll be the ones responsible. But the environmental issues alone are enough for me to have some concerns, and the red flag goes up, just because we don't know have any idea what the cost would be to try to remediate those. It's quite a lot of asbestos, for example, and some other things there we know that are there. And then it also, of course, the agreement provides that we're getting the building as is. And as you know, there's some issues just from the mechanical side of things out there. That's also a problem. Now, we can go in that, I guess, that's a decision this body would make, I suppose, in the sense of whether you want to take that on or not. But it's kind of difficult not knowing exactly what all that involves. But we're taking the property as is, and I don't blame them, quite frankly. They want to walk away from it. And that's why this whole agreement is written the way it is. And the third thing was, they wanted, there's a provision about just venue in case there's any lawsuits filed. They wanted it to be in Williamson County where they're located. And we said, no, we don't want it here, and they didn't want that either. So now they put Davidson County in there, which to me is not something we want to agree to either. So those are kind of the 3 things that I think are still an issue, and I don't know that they're going to move from that. We hadn't had any conversations, quite honestly, since our last meeting. I hadn't followed back up with them, waiting really to get some direction about what we're going to do or not do. But as it stands now, I would be reluctant to recommend to you guys to agree to that agreement with knowing those 3 things are out there. I'll answer any questions you have.
Of course, one of my concerns is the fact that we have entities that have been interested in servicing us medically here are not interested in the entire hospital. So that leaves us kind of in a lot more liability that way, and that's one of my concerns. So, but is there any discussion about this, any questions, or do we want to move with some decision at this point as to what to do? Because actually we have really told them, and Craig and I have been talking back and forth because they needed kind of an answer. And Craig, I think, informed them that we were leaning, in the committee, we didn't take a vote on that, but the committee was leaning toward not accepting the building.
And I told them we'd let them know something. I thought after the night's meeting that we don't have to do that, obviously, but I thought that I was anticipating that we would be able to do that, but if not, that's okay. They may have decided to go with some other direction themselves, I don't know. But you certainly don't have to, and that's up to you guys.
I personally think it's gonna be a liability for the county to assume this at any cost. I mean, I think that's not the route that we need to go about having an emergency room there, or another hospital there. I just don't think it's gonna happen. And if Chair will be okay with it, I'll make a motion that we notify them that we're not interested in it.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion.
But before we do that, is there anything with the ambulance service? I mean, there are 30 days have done been given, right, or 90 days, whatever. Is there anything with ambulance service?
No, we're not at this point. We haven't made any decision on that at this point. We just had discussion. You know, that's kind of a different issue.
So it wouldn't affect the ambulance?
Right, at this point, unless there's and Thomas, correct me if I'm wrong, unless there's a sale of that property, if CHS sells that property.
Well, I just know that the company was waiting to hear back from the county on the building so that the decision can be made to move forward with options for the ambulance service, because the intent is not to stay out on the hospital property. But of course, they're maintaining it with a plan ops manager there and the EMS there to keep the building, you know, from molding and stuff like that. But the intent is to, communication from me is to move forward, but they've been waiting to decide whether they're gonna build or, you know, revamp, you know, maybe the clinic, because you know, the clinic in the front of the hospital is on that same parcel with the hospital, so that goes with the hospital. So if the choice is not to take that, then that may be an option that they look at. Well, if they don't take the building, then we can revamp the clinic on Poplar side for the EMS. But they're waiting to hear back whether or not that's an option, or they're gonna have to get us off-site, because we need to take the building back, and of course, we'd have to get out of there.
Because I did, after we entered into, there's funds that were actually, the state has found, CDGB funding, up to $22 million that they're, and of course, distressed communities are getting those first chances, those funding. And I hated to not take an opportunity because we didn't know what was gonna happen with the hospital. So we submitted a request for a ambulance center, to have some plans drawn up to kind of see if we qualify, and if that would be a possibility there. You know, because we don't know which direction we're gonna go, but, so we had to kind of start thinking ahead a little bit. So we're in the process of doing that right now.
Mayor, the other entities that have been talked to, West Tennessee Healthcare, or whoever else that's been talked to, are they willing to build a facility to provide any kind of services
Well,
locally?
I think at some point they'd be, I think they're exercising their options right now with some facilities here in town. But really, that's a different business transaction that they're dealing with. So we really probably don't need to talk on that, but I feel like they would be willing to provide, and if it takes building additional property building, I'm sure they will do that. But right now, they're having to work through this other issue.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
based on what Mr. Kennedy has just said, I don't think we would want to accept the hospital until all of those issues could be resolved. And what I know about the meetings that have taken place, we don't want to take on the responsibility of operating the hospital. None of the outside entities that we've talked to have expressed any interest in operating that facility, maybe another facility or something. So it appears as we don't have anyone to operate that facility, even if we should agree to accept it. Unless somebody knows something that I don't.
There's a motion on the
We have a
floor.
motion and a second. Do we want to vote?
Call for question.
What is the motion?
That we do not accept the hospital.
Under the current terms and conditions.
That's right.
Right. That's right.
All right. Robert Harris,
Yes.
David McCullough,
Yes.
Steve Browder,
Yes.
Jeff Clifford,
Yes.
Matt Wood,
Yes.
Kevin Clifford,
Yes.
Troy Moore,
Yes.
Carolyn Woods,
Yes.
Keith Jernigan,
Yes.
Jay Weatherford,
Yes.
Brenda Colley,
Yes.
Stan Wheeler,
Yes.
Wilbur Nash,
Yes.
Sandy Whitaker,
Yes.
Greg Martin,
Yes.
Jim Rickman.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Unanimous vote to not enter into the agreement and to refuse the agreement with the hospital. So, Mr. Kenny, you can just notify them. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, under new business, I'd like to recognize Mr. Alan Strickland. He's going to give you an update on the department. I think he's passed out some information he's got that he would like to share with you.
And I won't take but a minute of your time. I just let you guys know in the last month it's been really busy. I met with TEMA, met with some other state agencies, met with some Homeland Security people, met with some of the first responders here in the county, and have compiled a list of things that I think are important. And I've set those goals and objectives in the handout you have. And it's some short-term and long-term goals. I won't go over each one in detail now. Just letting you know that we're working towards those goals, and as those goals are met, I'll meet back with the commission and let you know where we're at and let you know where we're going in the future. And that's really all I've got to say. If there's any questions on what you have, feel free to contact me and we'll address them. If there's no other questions, that's all I've got. Thank you.
I did want to add that this was an interim position, and as of today, that this is official, and Mr. Strickland is the official EMA director. So, and I appreciate everything, Alan, that you've done and the work that you put in, because he's hit the ground running since he's been there. So he's done a great job. Okay, next on the under new business, Mr. Eddie Crittenden.
Thank you, Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Commissioners. Appreciate you, opportunity to come back and talk to you again about some things we got going on in the county. Just, give you an update. Our foreign trade zone status should be, coming up pretty quick. Hopefully we'll be able to make some announcements on that in the next month. We've kind of gotten through all the steps and are kind of on the home slide now. A couple weeks ago, we went to Nashville and continued that long tradition with McNairy County of getting our 3-star certification. That was good. That's always beneficial to our communities. And one of our communities received Select Tennessee status as a certified site in Adamsville, about 45 acres over there. So that was great. And just to tell you, and it's kind of ironic, I was sharing with the mayor when he came in today, of all the hectic stuff we had going on today, we got a phone call from a Canadian company who had seen that Select Tennessee site and was interested in getting more information on it. So everything we do, and I bring these things, as we're more forward thinking on the things that we're doing, those things are going to pay off. It's just amazing. But this company actually saw that the state of Tennessee had put out that this is now a Select Tennessee site. Just to give you a really quick update on that. All of the work that went into that with the previous administration and my job, the city of Adamsville, the IDDs over there in the county, and all of you being partners in that, when a company gets ready to look at that industrial park, it's ready to go. And it cuts out several months of their time. And I feel like that's going to really, over the next bit, attract a whole lot more attention. So we're excited about that. What I come to talk to you about tonight, and I'm about as sick as Carol Ann is, we'll probably get a dueling banjo coughing fit here in a minute. As I talked to you last time about the company that we were working with for the building over in Adamsville, and you so all graciously agreed to help us out with that I will come back and talk to you about a pilot program for them, payment in lieu of tax for the company in favor of them through the IDB in Adamsville. We got to talking about that. I talked with our attorney, Craig Kennedy, just kind of talked around Adamsville IDB. We met and city and different groups over there. But in that discussion, we come to find out, as protocol, the county commission had not authorized Adamsville to issue pilot programs in favor of industrial prospects to help seal those deals. You guys had done it a few years ago for Selmer, McNairy County Industrial Development Authority, but not Adamsville Industrial Development Authority. So what I come tonight is to ask you all to consider and hopefully vote for in favor of authorizing Adamsville, of course, at their expense, the Industrial Development Board, to put together a 15-year pilot program in favor of a company that we're trying to sign into a building over there. They'll be putting it together, and it'll be somewhat of a sliding scale over that 15 years to be able to benefit the company as well as the Industrial Development Board in Adamsville, and hopefully be a win for everybody. But it does take a vote of the county commission to support that. And I come to you asking you that, as you always have done, put your faith in us and support what we're doing and vote affirmative on it to allow them to put this together and put this baby to bed and hopefully create some jobs here and in the future in that building.
So moved.
Is there any stipulations on that with,
There will be some clawback provisions put in. We'll put in, of course, the attorney for Adamsville IDB will have to put that in. But I'm meeting with them in the morning and tomorrow afternoon, and there will be some things in there, you know, provided on job creations. If those jobs aren't met, that, you know, those numbers will change. And also too, you know, for instance, if a company were to go bankrupt, there were, you know, we don't want them sitting out there and getting a tax break and not paying anything, so it would revert back to 100%. So we'll put those things in to make sure those are covered.
I believe I understood you said 15 years.
Yes, sir.
Now, is that a graduated, is it similar to Selmer, McNairy County, scale? I mean, is it gonna be a sliding scale?
It will be somewhat of a sliding scale.
Are we gonna have apples and oranges, or are we gonna have two apples in the IBT guidelines?
Can I comment about that? One of the things I'm working on is to try to avoid what we talked about. And so what I had suggested is that the board consider granting Adamsville IDB the authority for this particular transaction. And I've got some guidelines that I'm working on. I've got them pretty much drafted so that this would bring them back to this body to approve, so that we'll be dealing with the Selmer McNairy County Industrial Development Board and the Adamsville McNairy County Industrial Development Board will have to be operating under the same guidelines. So there won't be any questions about what they are. And I've got it down to the guidelines themselves. I've pretty much got roughed out. It's just the matrix about the job creation, that kind of thing, and that just takes a little bit longer to get done than I thought it would be. So I think we're going to be getting to that point, if you can bear with me a little bit.
If I can add to that, Chris, as that's put together, that's going to be a matrix. It's just going to be a model for what we do. But every project's going to be different. We were talking about that. You know, if you have a project comes in and just say they want the whole 45 acres in that Select Tennessee site, and they're going to invest $25 million and create 500 jobs, and we're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive because they're going to be looking at different areas.
I think it's to be cautious wherever it's located, to come in and say, you know, we're gonna have the same, wherever it's at, whether it's at Selmer or Raymer or Adamsville or wherever it's at, to lock us into saying this is what we've gotta do. I think if somebody comes in and offers 800 jobs, if it's wherever it's at, it's gonna take a little more.
Yeah,
And all they're asking is one time, right?
One time, yes, sir. And I agree with what you're saying, and I think our partners do too, that we work together on this. But Craig's gonna put some things in there, because every project's different. I mean, every project has drivers, and every project's drivers may be different. It may not be property tax. It may be workforce training dollars. It may be utilities. It may be to where we can come in and put the infrastructure in for them. There's so many different factors when it comes to dealing with a company. But for this specific project, it's that's the payment in lieu of taxes on property.
Property, not personal?
There'll be some on personal, but that'll be even a less sliding scale on it. It won't be the 15 years. And that's the same leeway that you guys have afforded the other industrial development boards in the county.
In our proposal guidelines, but one of the things I put in there, this is all, we can change it if you want to, but I had it was 300 jobs. I mean, I've come here with 300 jobs. I thought they deserve some, but they may not fall into the normal routine. So it's one of those where, to me, if they came in and had 300 jobs they're bringing into this county, then there's some flexibility there for us. So they're guidelines. They're not something that's just nailed down. but it's so that both boards are operating under the same framework, and you, as a county commission, understands what that framework is, just as the city board in Adamsville, the city board in Selma know what that framework is.
Craig, is there not already some sort of matrix already in place?
There is a matrix, but it's one of those things where it's never been adopted in both places. But the matrix that we're proposing will be essentially the same matrix we've already been using.
Commissioner, I'll tell you this too, I've reached out to some of the colleagues I deal with in other counties. You've got some aggressive counties out there when they want a project, here it is, come on, we want you. And hey, I mean, that's the game, I mean, sometimes that's the way you gotta do it. I've reached out to our TVA partners and different ones, say, what's other counties doing? Now, we've looked at Shelby County and some other counties around us that are bigger counties, but a lot of them don't have a developed program to say, this is what you're gonna do based on the investment costs, the jobs, the wages paid, things like that. So it is very important that we put that together going toward the future. But again, I'm here to ask you for this program, or this project here.
I think there was a motion on the floor already.
Second. Motion by Mr. Wood, second
Just
by,
one project,
Yes, ma'am.
but the motion's say for this one.
yeah, for this one project. And then they'll come back with,
Yeah, I mean, any projects we have, I mean, they're all, like I said, they're gonna be different. 99.9% of the projects we have, I'm gonna come back to you guys and say, here's what we got, I need your help. That's just part of it.
any other questions? Mr. Gretton? Move on. All in favor? Any opposition?
Thank you all, appreciate it very much. I gotta go back to a fashion show, I got 300 people wearing it out down here at the Latitude.
Now, I want to see what you're gonna wear.
This is it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were
So
gonna-
forgive me
you
for
were gonna
skipping
model.
out, but I gotta get back
I
down
thought you
there.
might be going model.
Thank you all again, appreciate it.
Okay, under the new business, recommendation of Louis Sims to replace Bobby Parrott on the Annapolis IUB. This is just a vacancy, and of course, we'll vote on that at our next December meeting. Any other business before this board? Okay. Notaries. Regina Jackson, Linda Diane Pendley, Linda Pyron, and Tawanda Rickman.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Harris, second by Jernigan. All in favor? Any opposition? Okay, next on the agenda is adjournment.
So moved.
All in favor? Set up and go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.